Where I want to start, Marko, is you grew up, and I know I have to pronounce the name right, but in Kalajoki.
Yes, that's very well pronounced.
Okay, what kind of town is that to grow up in?
Well, it's actually quite a small town in the middle part of Finland on the coastline. So I guess how many inhabitants there are nowadays, because I've not been living there for the last 25 years or so.
Okay.
So it's like maybe 10,000 at max.
Okay.
Very, very small.
And this is, I suppose, where the beginnings of the band were. But then, as you mentioned, now you've been living in Helsinki, I think, for 25 years.
Yeah, at least, yes.
But there is a connection, obviously, to the new album, which is kind of the dimension of the river, the illusion, to the river. So growing up there, was the river important? Is the river important to the people there?
Yeah, it is. It is, of course. And okay, it's on the coastline, so the sea is also very important. I don't know if you know our records. The earlier albums, but there's at least some of the songs. There's been the connection to the sea, like Into the Sea, and so on. So, but yeah, there's the river, and there's the connection to that. But yeah, I mean, it's a small town there, and it's in the wintertime, it's quite depressing, I would say.
Okay.
So.
Do you have a childhood memory of that river or something, either with some guys of the band that you spent time there, or anything, or is that too far-fetched?
Yeah, well, I've been fishing there all my childhood, so there is my connection. We did quite a lot of fishing there with my brother, but that doesn't have anything to do with the band. But then Rainer got the idea to a little bit get the river involved in the new album, and some of the pictures have been shot there, right on that river. So yeah,
and I believe that one of the videos there is some fishing in it as well. So
yeah,
that's a little connection. But what I find interesting, because the reason why I ask about these things is before the whole theme of the album becomes clear, you have to kind of write the music, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So what influences this process, and how does that kind of go with what Rainer comes up with? How do you kind of make sure those two are balanced?
Well, I don't know. Rainer always telling me that he needs to have some music before he can write anything. And when I'm writing music, I don't think about anything like the river or anything like that. I just want to concentrate on the melodies and the rhythms and all that. So I mean, yeah, I just want to make music that is touching myself, and then I think that it can also touch somebody else. So it's nothing magic behind that. To be honest, it's hard work, more like.
So do you approach it like for a normal job, for let's say that you start at 8 and just hammer at it, just try to get something done?
No, definitely not, because I'm not a professional musician. So I have my day job, so that takes 8 hours of my day, and then the family, and then in the evening time, if you are not too tired, then you have the so-called own time. You can come here, because I have a studio room here in our house, and I can come down here and try to get something done. Yeah, it's sometimes it's quite difficult if you are too tired, but yeah, it's definitely hard work.
Yeah, sure. And now with this new album in particular, then what was because you've made a lot of music over the years, so there's always, I suppose, you have to come up with new ideas. So what was the motivation or the aim for this particular album? Were you looking for certain sounds, or just trying things out?
Yeah, well, it's normally like you just try things out, and you could know immediately if you hit a really good melody, so you get the goosebumps to your hands, and that's the good sign. So then you think that this is it. But yeah, I did have a couple of how should I put it, like a couple of targets when I was composing this album. So the first target was that I want to make shorter songs that compared to the last the album before, I mean the Silver Horizon. So those songs were very long, and we noticed that sometimes when you're playing live those longer songs, you get a little bit maybe bored yourself. So I mean, that was one of the things. So maybe take a couple of steps backwards in that sense, make simple song structures, and yeah, try to think it like you could possibly play all of the songs at live situations. So that was the main motivation for the songs, I would say, or the targets. Of course, the melodies come as they come, but then when you start doing the whole arrangement, then you concentrate, look a little bit your watch that you are not hitting the 5 minutes with the song length and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And now I find it interesting because you say initially kind of you want to impress yourself. If you think it's good, then most likely other people will like it as well. So you mentioned kind of getting that goosebump feeling when you know something is going in the right direction. What was the first song that had that as you were writing this new album? Was there a song immediately or in the beginning?
Yeah, well, actually the opening song was the first that those riffs were the first ones that were like finished, and yeah, it was actually quite a long process because there were like 6 years in between the Silver Horizon and the newest. So I mean, yeah, it's quite a long process, so I can't remember all the details anymore.
Sure.
But yeah, the opening song was the first one, and yeah, then the singles that were released, like Grace Under Pressure, and The Extinctionist. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a long process, I would say. So
yeah, do you kind of how far do you go in writing the music before you send it over to the other members of the band? For instance, if you take The Extinctionist, as you mentioned, there's piano in there, there's strings in there, this little breakdown. Is that all written before it goes to the other members of the band?
No, not all, but I would say that, for example, that song, there was already, well, I wrote it to the guitar solo, and then you had all the necessary stuff like the verses, pre-choruses, and the chorus riffs. So then you can give it away and let Rainer do his job, and the other guys too. So, but yeah, you need to have all the basic stuff there. Then okay, I can do the guitar solo and the rest of it, but just to get everybody else working on the song, then you want to send it. But yeah, I think the longer we have been doing this stuff together, the more I would like to make the songs like the how should I put it? Well, I don't want to send only one riff and see what comes up from the other guys. Maybe I should do that once, but I think it's like you already have some kind of a vision of the whole song, and then you want to make it as far as possible, and then see what happens. Of course, we've been talking about, because Rainer says that he cannot do any lyrics before the music, and especially after the latest album, I told him that maybe we should try once the other way around. But I mean, it might make it easier to compose the song if you already know how much lyrics you are going to have to arrange to the song, and yeah, think about the melodies too right from the start. But this is kind of a trial and error type of approach that you have almost ready music, and then you get the singing, and then you start wondering what to do with the lyrics, and if there is too much of it or too little of it, and what the melody might be. I have certain melody already in my head and the singing styles, but then sometimes Rainer comes up with totally different stuff, and then we argue a little bit and come to the conclusion, maybe, hopefully.
And I suppose this is mostly in terms of the melody of the vocals and those kind of things. But do you talk
the
about
melody and the rhythmicals,
right?
Yeah, rhythmical part of the singing, not the lyrics itself. Yeah, I can give Rainer some maybe options how he could say the same thing with different words if it's too difficult to get the arrangement done. But yeah, it's more like the melody and the rhythm.
Right, because if you well, it's interesting then, because the lyrics are very heartfelt, very they can be very deep. They deal with very important and difficult subjects. Do you talk amongst the band? Do you talk about these things, or do you kind of go, okay, Rainer is going to write the lyrics, and whatever he comes up with, that's...
Well, not too much, but I think we gave him an advice that he should put everything that he has on his heart to these lyrics, and I think, yeah, if you know the guy, then you kind of can relate what he's gone through and all that. But yeah, there is actually one song which is, I think, mostly written by Adolf.
Okay.
The Shackles of Fear.
Okay.
So that's one of the songs that Adolf has written, but all the other lyrics are from Rainer's hand.
This is maybe just from personal, because you know Rainer, obviously. Was there one song that he wrote the lyrics for that you were really impressed by, where you thought, okay, I really, this is really interesting what he wrote here?
Well, yeah, a couple of songs at least. But I think the biggest impact on me was The Stranger. It is so sad. I mean,
yes.
The melody is so sad, and it's quite a beautiful song. But yeah, that's maybe the most influencing. But yeah, the lyrics are quite strong, I would say. Definitely.
Sure. And then you mentioned already kind of the live show, and then kind of wanting to cut back on the length of songs because it might work better live. And now you are playing live at the moment, I believe.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
What have you found? What have you found about the new songs? Do they work? Have you figured out which ones work better than the others? Or
yeah, well, we've been playing 7 songs from the album.
Okay.
Actually, on all of the gigs that we've done, we are now like 5 gigs already played, and we played all the seven songs. So the songs that we're not playing are Parathon, Shackles of Fear, and what is the third one? Unhola, the second on the album. These are the 3 songs that we have not been playing yet, and that is due to the fact that because I don't know if you know our history, but we don't rehearse much together. So actually all of the songs were recorded on the album without any band rehearsals. So we just sent the demo tapes and okay, the demo tapes that I made here in my home studio, I had a superior drummer and fairly well produced drum demos behind the songs. So Heikki can immediately start doing his own things, but he's got a clue where I may be wanting the song to go, so he made some changes, but not too much. So, but yeah, we don't rehearse that much together. So album was recorded without any band rehearsals. Okay. Then we know that the gigs are starting in March. So we had 2 rehearsals before that. So the same week when we had the first gig, on Monday we had a rehearsal, and on Thursday we had a rehearsal. The Thursday rehearsal was not a good thing because we blowed one of the power amps. But
okay.
So basically we had one successful rehearsal, but yeah, so due to that fact, and because Rainer plays and sings, it's too much for him to take 10 songs on one go. So
Sure.
we just picked okay, we had 2 songs already. The singles, those we already played on some gigs last year and the year before. So basically there were 5 new songs for Rainer to learn. But yeah, it's quite hard work for him. But well, I don't know. He just wanted to be the guitar player, singer at the same time. So he shouldn't complain.
Well, yeah, he chose it, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to do it. But I find this approach then very interesting. Is it kind of out of necessity that you do it this way, or are you kind of, is the chemistry good enough that you can kind of get away with it? Why is it that you?
Yeah, I think it's both. And I mean, I live here in the Helsinki area, and the rest of the guys live 200 kilometers away. So in the different cities, and that's the first thing that you don't want to, or because I have family here and all that. So I try to minimize the events that I need to start traveling. So that's one of the reasons. And because we have learned to work this way, and now we have the very fast data connections, it's really no problem sending the demo tapes and all that stuff, and doing vocal arrangement on all that. So I mean, we just want to be effective in that way, and then when is the time is right to get together, everybody has learned the songs and played them a lot by themselves, and then when we get together, it's immediately almost there. So and of course Heikki is such a good drummer that it's a huge help. I mean, I can be sure that when I'm training here alone and playing maybe with the superior drummer background or the metronome, I know that when we get together and have the band rehearsal, it's Heikki is always delivering. So
Oh, that's good. That's
he's definitely a strong part in this kind of a arrangement. So not with every drummer would that work, but with Heikki it definitely does.
And this kind of ties in, maybe, I don't know to what extent, but one thing that I noticed about doing research about the band, about Diablo, was that a lot of the comments said that you are as a band underappreciated, that they think that the band is really great, but for some reason it hasn't blown up the way well the fans would like to see it. And for you, you just mentioned that you're not a professional musician, you still have a day job as well. Is that, why do you think that is, that the band hasn't blown up yet? And is that something that you're still working towards, or do you like the way it is now?
Well, of course, we would like to play outside Finland, of course. I mean, for me, that would be one goal, definitely, because we are singing in English, and of course that helps to at least potentially that helps to get the wider audience. But yeah, I think it's quite many things. In the early 2000s, when we released the Eternium album, we actually I think, was it Roadrunner or some of the bigger international labels, we got or they would have wanted us to sign the deal with them, but we didn't. We chose Tracker Records from Germany. I don't know if that made any difference, but yeah, we did some touring in Europe. I think, was it 2007, 8, 9, or something like that. In 2009, we toured there with Children of Bodom and Cannibal Corpse. So it was like a real proper tour, like 1 month or so. And but after that, yeah, we were not composing the new record in a hurry. I had very small childs at home, children, and yeah, you know, time flies. And then then you get the next record, but album ready. But yeah, after Silver Horizon, we didn't do any tour outside Finland.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe this time we would definitely be happy to do that. So
yeah, because
hopefully that works.
Last question then, but I read somewhere it's this kind of a memory, so I don't know if this is completely correct, but it's something, a quote by the band, maybe it was you, maybe it was Reiner, I don't know, but kind of saying like you're as good as your last album. So with this new album now, then do you think this is and I'm sure you'll say, but is this the best album that you've made so far?
Yeah, yes, of course. You cannot ask that question from an artist, but actually, yeah, because we have a long history here in Finland, and we've been topping the charts for with the last, like, I don't know, 4 albums or so. I think Eternium was the first album that was number 3 on the Finnish charts. Then Mimic 47 went to the top. Icaros, that was number 2. Silver Horizon went to the top, and this newest has also gone to the top. But yeah, if I read all the comments that all the fans are saying, I think they are also saying that this might compete for the best album title so far for Diablo. So I mean, it's not just us, but also some of the fans think that this is the best one. So that is a good sign. So we are still, even though we've been doing this for like 20 years or more, we are still kind of relevant band to them. And yeah,
you're still getting better, you're still improving, which is
yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, of course, part of it is that because you are not professional musician, then you cannot play 8 hours a day and get better that way. But yeah, we are still getting better, I think. Yeah, hopefully you think that too.
But yeah, I think as you mentioned, the fans seem to think so as well. So that's a very good sign, as you say.
Yeah. Just one thing you asked about the people thinking outside Finland that we are underrated band or so. Yeah, I think maybe one of the reasons is that okay, we didn't sign the bigger deal 10 years, 15 years ago. Maybe that is one reason. And one reason might also be that I don't think we belong any of the metal genres in straight. I mean, we mix something from like thrash metal, something from death metal, something from, I don't know, different styles.
Right.
So maybe something from new metal or so I mean, it's not like you can sell it with one label that this is power metal or something like that. So that might also be a little bit track in this sense that we are not getting known as easily.
Yeah, that is as you mentioned, it's not as easily marketable in a way, or at least with one term. Like you said, I think the band is inspired by a lot of American thrash metal, but then you have your own melodic influences and all that kind of stuff. So like, yeah, I do think that's right. That the industry, and especially, well, I have one more question then, because I find this always interesting. I didn't grow up with metal and all that kind of stuff, but as I'm doing this job for 8 years now, and I've listened to a lot of metal over those 8 years, there are so many little different kind of genres or kind of labels put to the music. How do you feel about that? Because for me, my approach has always been, music is either I like it or it's not. It's good music or it's not good music. I don't care about the genre. I don't care about
yeah. For me, it is definitely the same. I mean, if a song is good song, it can be also something else than metal. I do listen a little bit classical music and different styles. But okay, yeah, the most that I'm listening to is metal. Yeah. And I've been listening to metal since I was 9 years old, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, at that time, actually, and because I was living in the countryside in Kalajoki, there wasn't too many metalheads at all, but luckily in my neighbor there was a younger guy who was into metal, and he got quite a sizable collection of different albums, and he was kind enough to let me borrow, and from there I got quite many influences. Yeah, but the first bands that I started to listen were like Iron Maiden, Wasp, Scorpions. Then a few years later, I heard Metallica. That was a big influence, and American thrash bands like Testament,
sure,
and you name it. So, yeah, Sepultura is one of the very big influences from my teenage years, and then Pantera. I don't know, many bands.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, and then one of the few people perhaps then in the town who also liked that music was Reiner, right?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. The first band that we got there was actually myself and my brother, because my older brother, he played drums and I started playing guitar, and we got the band. Then there was some bassist, but he wasn't playing too long because Reiner got into our rehearsing room and took the place, and he started playing with us, and then Reiner's younger brother started playing bass, and Reiner moved to guitar and singing, and then we had our first band. So
that was great.
That was nice. Then we dropped my older brother away, and Reiner's younger brother, and we continued, the two of us. We moved to the southern Finland, and the rest of the guys, they didn't move anywhere, and yeah, we decided to continue. So here's the result.
Yeah, and now more than 20 years later, you're still playing. So that's awesome to hear. Marko, may I thank you for your time?
Thank you very much. It was nice to have this chance, and hopefully we come abroad and
hopefully I'm from the Netherlands. Hopefully you get to play some shows in Europe at some point, which would be I think a lot of the fans would like that. So
yeah, let's hope for the best.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you so much again for taking the time, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.